Hey guys, this video is on the STIHL or STIHL, depending on how you want to pronounce it, Farm Boss chainsaw. So the very first thing you want to do is get you some personal protective equipment before you use this and wear it. It's not going to do you any good sitting on your shelf and not wearing it. So put the stuff on before you use it. That includes some eye protection. If you need a helmet, put a helmet on. Ear protection. And then also get you some chainsaw cut resistant pants. And these are chaps. And so if you hit yourself in the leg, this will stop your chain and this will save your leg. It'll save your ass. So wear your personal protective equipment anytime you're operating a chainsaw. So let's get into operating this thing. The other tip I have for you is always operate this thing with a sharp chain. So for a number of reasons. It's easier to cut, it's the obvious one, but it'll make your cuts straighter. If you keep a sharp blade, it'll cut quicker. And also, if you do happen to get dinged by this thing, it's not gonna make a rough cut. It'll give you a cleaner cut. And so that's a morbid thought, but it's true. So if you have a sharp chain, it's better all around. And you're not putting as much elbow grease into it, let's say. So anyway, here's our Farm Boss. So to operate this thing, well, let's see. So here, let's start with putting gas in here. So I'd like to use the engineered fuel. It's a little more expensive, but it's non-ethanol and it's already pre-mixed. And so that just goes right in here. And then your bar oil goes right in here too. It's very, very, very thick stuff, that bar oil. So keep that topped off. Like that, and like that. Same for both of them. So now, to operate this thing, so it can be a little tricky if you don't know what you're doing. So you're gonna wanna hold that down, hold this down, like that, right? Hold this down, hold that down, and then you're gonna wanna go all the way down, and leave it. Now pull it as many times as you want, but as soon as you're gonna wanna pull it, sometimes it's the first or second one, but pull it until it starts to just barely turn over. You're gonna hear a vroom, and stop. As soon as it does that, that lets you know that the saw is ready to fire off, and you're gonna wanna just click it one click, and then it should fire up after one pull. So I'll demo for you. Okay, again, always make sure you have good feel on this. This is just starting this thing. So again, so take this and go all the way down with it. All the way down. Now, I know technically you're supposed to set this on the ground, put your foot through this thing and yank it. I don't like to do it that way. So I recommend you follow the right way to do this and put this on the ground. Put your foot there, start it that way. Don't do it this way. But here's how I do it. All the way down. Hear that? That means it's ready to go. And you go up one click, one, and then pull it. Yep, that lock was on. It's all right, let's do it again. So now, starting it up again, you don't need to go all the way down. Up one from the bottom. I'll show you how to tighten your chain too here in a little bit, but really that's about what you want for chain tightness. Actually, I'll just explain it right now. It's super easy. So tighten it. Set it on its side like this. Here's a log I'm going to demo on. Set it on its side. Loosen this up just a little bit with your chainsaw wrench, and then that hole right there, crank that to the right, and it puts more tension on your chain. And then tighten these back up. That's really it. And if it's too tight, loosen these up. Turn that way to the left, and it'll loosen up your chain. And then tighten these back down. Super simple. All right, so here's the wrench you use. I talked about loosening and tightening the chain. This is the only wrench that you need. That's for the flathead fitting that goes in there, the screw, the set screw, and then this is for your fittings. Now, I recommend hitting your hitting your chain with the file before use every time. That way you can maintain maximum sharpness. And so what I like to do is, so here's the file, and so you can see it's got some marks on the top there. And so what you're gonna wanna do is see this line right here, make that parallel with the chain. Okay, so you wanna put that into the tooth there. Let me just kind of demo. Put it into the tooth. Oh, before we start, take a marker. That way you know which one you started with. Go ahead and mark the top of it. The marker. Now we know which one we started with. And so hit this one and then try to do the equal amount of strokes on each one. And then you also want to keep your file as level as possible. So basically, level meaning perpendicular with the blade. And perpendicular with the blade, and then make sure that plane right there, that line is parallel with the saw blade. So one of the things you can do is put this in a vise around there. It makes it a lot easier so you don't get any of this stuff. I don't mind it as much if I'm using two hands, so I'll kind of demo for you here how I like it. So to sharpen this, you know, some guys, like I said, will put them in the vise so you don't get too much rocking back and forth. I don't mind just doing it like this, trying to keep it parallel. This line here, parallel to this plane here. And so let's do 5 on each tooth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Okay, now we'll hit the next one. Not this one, because this one is going to be for the other direction. So we go to this one. So every other tooth, give it 5. 1. And you skip this one and go to this one. 1, 2. So after you've done all the teeth in that direction, you're gonna want to take your saw, flip it around so you can get to the other side here, and then do the same thing this direction. So there's our starting spot. So whichever way you want to go, start in the right here. 1. So one thing too, this will stop your blade if it kicks back or whatever when you're cutting. So you'll see right now it spins freely when you hit this right there. That locks it. You won't be able to move it. That unlocks it. Now we can move it. That was just a little side note from sharpening. So anyway, you go around all your teeth and do that. The other thing you want to do is they put this in here. This is for these here. So you want to have this, get a close up on that. You want to have these teeth here be a little bit lower than there, because that way I can grab the metal. So however you want to measure it, make yourself a go no go gauge, or just same thing here in front of the tooth. Just hit each one of these X amount of times. So let's just go 5 on each one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same thing with the next ones. 5 there. That way it has, this is above this and it'll grab the wood. If this is the same height as this, it makes it harder for this to grab above the wood there. So let's see if we can get a little bit, just to kind of show you. You see those things are just a little bit higher. So once your teeth here start to get lower, this will stay the same a lot of the times. So you want to make this just a little bit lower than this, and that's done with this file here. Right, taking a little bit off of there. It's always a good idea too, just in general too, put your tools back where they go. It'll save you time for looking for them next time. So I always leave my chainsaw stuff right in here. And then same with this. A lot of times what I'll do is take some orange spray paint too, paint it this bright orange color. That way it really sticks out. If I'm out cutting wood out in the woods, I can spot it easily. So for here, again, this is for changing your blade, or changing your replacing your chain, or tightening and loosening your chain. So this is the right here for tightening and loosening it, right this way or that way. But it's not going to do anything until you loosen these up. So you're going to want to take that, ooh, loosen that up, loosen that up. Not too much, unless you're taking it all the way off and replacing the chain altogether. Now, once these are loose, like I mentioned before, you can take this end, stick it down in there, and then tighten or loosen it, whatever you need to do. So you can see, let's make it all the way loose here, right? So you can see I'm turning it to the left. Now I got a loose chain. Now I'm going to turn it to the right. Watch this thing tighten up. Okay, you want to have it just about like that. Not too loose, not too tight where you don't get that snap back. You want to be able to pull it out a little bit and then get that snap back. So right there, but be sure you tighten these back up really good once you got your chain tension where you want it. There we go. Okay, get yourself a good funnel too, because it's a pain trying to pour this into here without spilling it everywhere. And this stuff's expensive too. So this is the engineered fuel, and so they mixed it 50-to-1, which is what this takes. So this is what I like to run, and it's got the perfect mix to it. There's no guessing involved. So yeah, this works really good. I recommend using this fuel for your saw. And then get you a funnel and do that, and I'll show you the bar oil. Okay, I'm not too particular on brands as far as bar and chain oil. I haven't come across one that's really bad yet. Probably the worst thing you can do that actually does work a little bit, but bottom of the rung there as far as what to do is use motor oil for this. So guys will do that every once in a while. I'll be honest, I've done that in the past, but the problem is you got a lot of byproducts in that used motor oil, and it'll take its toll and put more wear and tear on your chain and bar and all that stuff. So just use, if you can, use straight bar and chain oil. In a pinch, you can use the motor oil, but it's a lot less viscous than this stuff. So this stuff's nice and thick and lasts a long time. So that's what I use. Again, funnel, a separate funnel, and then so 2 funnels. You're going to need one for your gas and one for your bar oil. That's how I do it. Also, if this thing's going to be sitting all year and you only use it once in a while, get some fuel stabilizer in there, put some stable in there. Especially if you're going to run the non-engineered fuel, it's got ethanol in it. It'll wreak havoc on your motor, and so I can't stress that enough. I've made that mistake for years and years and years, just letting it sit, and your stuff won't run as good as it will if you get the right mix, the engineered fuel. And then if you let it sit, either drain the fuel, or even better yet, just put that fuel stabilizer in there to keep it nice and clean. So all right, the last thing is I never cared much for these before, but I use them all the time now, and that's just the guard here that comes with the case. Put this on there because that way when you're moving your saw around, hauling it places, you're not going to ding your knife. You know, you spend a lot of time sharpening these things, and this will save you from dinging it up on hitting it on stuff, your truck or whatever it is. So go ahead and put that on there when you're all done sharpening it. That's what I there it is with the bar cover on it, and then back in the case it goes. Just like that. If you've got a case, try to get a case if you can. Pay a little bit of money for it, but it's well worth it. And then sometimes these things will leak too a little bit, and then the bar oil, so you can put some cloth down in there or a rag just to kind of soak that up. There we go.